Hey, welcome. So, my name is Jack Link. My video today is going to be about how I went from being an offensive lineman over 300 pounds to now being somebody between 220 and 230, healthy body weight, and helping others do the same. So, I have a fitness coaching company called Line Man to Lean Man, where I primarily help former offensive linemen and football players lose weight. I used to play football, so let's dive into the story a little bit. How I gained about 80 pounds, how I lost 80 pounds, how I've kept off 80 pounds, and how I've helped over 30, 40 individuals lose 30, 40, 50 plus pounds. So let's dive in a little bit here. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's get the layout here. I feel like I'm a professor right now. Okay, here we go. So, right, lineman to lean man. So this is where I used to be. Okay, that was 305 pounds. Very, very large individual, right? High blood pressure, a little bit high body fat, but now, okay, I'm leaner, hence the lean man name. So that's kind of the philosophy of the brand or of the name of what I do for coaching. But I'm a nutritionist and I help people lose weight and enjoy what they do, enjoy how they eat, enjoy how they train, all of those different things. So let's dive in a little bit. So that's the that's the overall before and after. But how did it all happen, right? I'm somebody who, if I'm listening to somebody, or if I'm learning from somebody, or if I want to work with somebody, right? I've had people say they signed up with me. I'm like, how do you even hear me? They're like, oh, I looked up Lyme weight loss, and then saw your YouTube videos. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I should probably explain who the heck I am on YouTube. So you, the viewer, if you're watching, you can learn a little bit about me and realize I'm a normal person just like you. And this is my story. So let's dive in. Okay, right. How to lose weight after football, path to purpose. That's my name, Jack Klink. There we go, right? As you see down here. But okay, so this is cool. This is my buddy Jake. He's the freaking man. And this is me growing up, right? I always liked playing football, always like being a part of a team, always like competing. I remember begging my parents for years to be allowed to play football. So I was a eager young man who wanted, or boy who wanted to play football. So this is me, younger, okay. Normal size looking dude here, right? I wasn't that big. In here, right? By the end of my high school career, my coach, Coach Molnich, told me if I gained weight, I could play college football. And then I didn't really have a goal in high school. I didn't feel like I really fit in with any of the crowds specifically. And the weight room and football really gave me a purpose. I felt connected with my teammates on the field. Um, and it was a sense of purpose that I really yearned for. I was thinking of going into the military. And once I was told that I could do football and I could be on a team, and if I worked hard, I could improve, then that was really all I needed to know. So throughout kind of growing up, I hit puberty probably a little bit later, went into college at 17. So I was a little bit younger. But once I got told I need to gain weight, I went from about 225, 230 junior year. This was, I think, freshman year, sophomore year. But by junior year, right, 225, senior year, I was about 290. So gained a lot of weight and really during my high school time, right, when I was 15, 16, 17 years old, fell in love with the weight room. As you see me here, repping 225 as a bigger senior, but always was writing all my friends' nutrition plans, training plans, all of that. I was tracking all my food. I've got food logs from MyFitnessPal back in 2014. So I was watching Brian Shaw, freaking Rich Piana, all these guys from back in the day in the YouTube, Steve Cook, 2013 to 2016. That's really when I learned a lot on YouTube. So I'm trying to pay that back forward here. So hopefully you're watching learning exactly how I kind of gain weight, lose weight, and maybe you're in the gain phase or maybe in the loss phase. And eventually I'll explain how to do that maybe the right way or how to limit body fat gain or how to lose weight and limit, loose skin, things like that. But just a little bit of my story so you understand who the hell I am and you at least will understand kind of what I'm saying and who I am. But okay, as mentioned, right? Gain weight. And now we're getting into college, right? That's kind of the origin story. Want to play football, didn't end up going to military, ended up walking on at University at Buffalo. And here I am here, right? Played at 304, 305. Here's me, my buddy Jake. Okay, as you saw, right? That's us right here. A few years later, we're playing at Penn State. I started to, or I went in initially as a walk-on. And this is our buddy Charlie from Pittsburgh too. He played at Penn State, but learned a lot from people before me about becoming a walk-on, about work ethic. So these are some of my friends, Jake and Coyote from Buffalo. This was me, I think, probably freshman year, maybe sophomore year, back at Buffalo as a walk-on. So I was learning about body composition, learning from our great strength coaches, nutritionists there. And when I came in, it was about 289, 290, like the shows there. Got up to about 305 when I was playing. So that was the purpose, that was the path. right? Hopefully, maybe you align with this, somebody who aspired to do great things, right? So that was my goal. I went when I was 2016, 17 years old, enrolled at University of Buffalo, and went full in. My goal was to earn a scholarship. My goal was to eventually become a captain. It was the start. So that was the vision. I knew it would probably take me 4 to 5 years to get there. I kind of knew fifth year was my year I wanted to start. So I knew for the next 4 years it was going to be delayed gratification and hard work. And that's exactly what it did. Just put the head down and work, and had a lot of great people around me um, who helped a lot. So onward, accomplishing goals, right? Eventually, years and years and years of training really hard, 2 to 3 sessions a day, watching a lot of film, having great coaches around me. Was able to block for great players like Jarrett Patterson, scoring a shit ton of touchdowns. Was able to be a captain was my goal. There's Jake and Jake who and Dom. Um, we all came together in 2016. This was over in 2021. So I ended up playing 6 years. Okay, we won a bowl game. I was able to start for my final 2 years. So really fun time. So from there, right, I knew I wanted to lose weight after football. My body was very beat up. That was one of the things. I was in chronic pain, very chronic, extreme chronic pain for a long time, probably from 2019 onwards until maybe 2022. So throughout my career, broke a fibula, as all linemen, sprained wrists, sprained ankles, sprained thumbs, broken fingers, all normal stuff. And then I had a few kind of injuries that really were a little rougher. This year here, 2020, we won, was it the Camellia Bowl? Poor plantar fascia, ruptured that. Um, what else? Tore thumb. I feel like there was something else too. And then, oh yeah, torn labrum, separated shoulder. Okay, and then my final year, a few herniated discs in my low back, tore ankle ligament, and then another torn labrum. So right now, right, I'm living with two torn labrums, herniated discs, but I knew I wanted to lose weight. So just, there's another level to the NFL. There's some quality players. I knew, okay, I hit my goals. Scholarship, captain, starter. Okay, let's lose weight. Let's get healthy. I always really loved just maximizing human potential. And that was my next challenge for me was how to lose weight. How do I get really healthy? Because I'm not in a healthy spot. I'm over 300 pounds, high blood pressure, low testosterone, like, 170 to 300 consistently. That was my total testosterone, nanograms over deciliter, like 170 to 330. That was my for years. Um, so I knew I wanted to really get healthy, and that's what I did. So as you see here, right, December 2021, this was me. I kind of reversed aged a little bit. And I looked a lot older when I was a lot heavier. And I think what I want to always emphasize with people about weight loss, about health, and about life is you've got to choose to do things that have, right, an asymmetrical return. And that's what weight loss is. That's what, and even for me, taking a risk and becoming an entrepreneur, asymmetrical return, right? Hormozy talks about it, right? You might bet on yourself and you might be wrong 50% of the time, but if you take a bet and you can 10x what you're doing, right? For me, I can 10x my health. I can go from being in chronic pain, taking painkillers, consistently taking muscle relaxers daily, smoking weed multiple times a day just to get rid of pain, to eventually not smoking weed, not needing painkillers, improving diet. And that took years, right? That wasn't just an overnight thing. This took about 6 months to lose weight. So December 2021, I was 305. By graduation, I was about 230. So about 75 pounds, as you see here, right? Look a lot different. Look a lot different. And that's what you can do if you lose weight and you do it the right way. You don't have to starve yourself, but you can really feel better. Okay. You can look better. You can have more confidence. It was crazy too, like confidence wise, man. I mean, I never, as a football player, once in a while you talk to girls, but not that often, right? And then you get down to a healthy looking individual and even eventually leaner than this, and you have energy, you feel just that vitality, and you can attract different women and be able to really be confident in yourself. So I think that's a huge thing I always talk about with guys, right? An asymmetrical return is investing in your health and getting extraordinarily healthier than 99% of the population, which is doable. And also learning a lot about yourself, challenging yourself, and then maintaining that and not just cutting. So I didn't want to just cut weight and then just bounce back up. I want to really cut it and keep it off. And that's what I've done. It hasn't been easy. There's been certain health challenges throughout the time to relate to hopefully some of you watching, right? I did carnivore for my first month. So January 2022, carnivore. Then from there, years prior, I did keto. So I've tried a lot of those things. And I did intermittent fasting. And that kind of low carb intermittent fasting, after probably losing 30 to 40 pounds, So probably like 260. Then it was like, man, this is really hard, and I feel like I'm starving myself, and I didn't really enjoy that. And then it's an unhealthy relationship with eating because then you overeat, you overeat, you undereat. And for me as a player, right, at this size, okay, at this size, I had to literally smoke weed and force myself to eat to maintain 300 plus pounds. Okay, that was very difficult, especially later in my career. I had mono my last season, missed camp, had a bunch of back injuries. I had no hunger. I was very, very just beat up, right? And I'm not suggesting this for people. I'm just explaining that like it was in a hard spot, and I really try to learn from the mistakes I made and the past experiences I had to then help people today, whether they're current football players, how to eat healthy the right way, how to not rely on substances, how to not have to go through these different things. If we're dealing with injuries, how to improve our health. So I try to learn from all these different experiences I had. And I'm just trying to be open and honest with you. And sometimes I can be honest to a fault, but I want to share. So hopefully you understand this story and where I am and how I'm helping you, hopefully, or just as a viewer. So, right, lost the weight. Okay. Started to look better, started to feel better. I eventually after college started doing sales. Okay. I did corporate sales. Didn't know what the hell I want to do for football, to be honest. I knew I had lineman and lean man as an idea, but I didn't take that full bet on myself. I didn't have that full confidence, I suppose. I was struggling with thyroid issues unknowingly to me at the time, but eventually lost the weight and just kind of gutted it out and started doing sales. And then throughout that time, I really mentally it was very difficult for me after football. And that's something I talk about with a lot of guys and really try to be a resource for them because I've been in those shoes. Once you finish at competitive athletics, shout out to Dominic Johnson and a bunch of other people who were in my corner. But it was difficult, man. I mean, like it was really difficult. And you see Dom, he's got something called Spark Coaching. So he does life coaching for athletes, the freaking man. But it really helped me out. But it was really after football, figuring out a purpose other than weight loss was really difficult. But in my free time, what did I do? I studied Stanford vertical diet. I studied, Alan Aragon and nutrition and training and watching all these bodybuilders. I mean, I spent hours a day reading nutrition or training principles, subscribing to websites. I hired a bodybuilding coach who taught me carb cycling. I hired um, different people for blood work. I probably spent over 15K just on coaches, blood work, and medical testing, MRIs, all of that stuff. And extraordinary amount of money invested on myself to learn. So a lot of my time throughout the past few years has been learning after football. Okay. So continue, right? May 2022, I started working sales after football. Honestly, hated it. Then I worked at a cannabis company, did kind of private equity raising, learned more about business, went back into sales, did some cybersecurity sales, and then eventually was like, man, I can't do that. We got to do some side quests, and I need to figure out what the hell I want to do. Always knew in my head I wanted to do fitness, but I didn't know how to take the leap. I didn't know, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't somebody who liked to post a lot on social media. I didn't really want to be like, oh, here's my shirtless pic. So it was a difficult transition. So what did I do first? I loved helping guys. During my career, especially my last 2 years, I was really a kind of like a GA style O-line assistant coach in a regard. Obviously, we had our GAs, but I was just another guy who I learned so much from coaches and players throughout my career. Like shout out James O'Hagan, and like I had a really good mentor who taught me a lot in the film room and on the field. So I tried to pass that on. So as a player later in my career, especially when I was hurt, I always was trying to help guys. So I always found a ton of, and I love working those high school camps too. It was just I don't know, I just enjoyed it. I have two younger brothers, right? I'm just naturally I enjoy helping the younger guys. I feel like a big brother, a lot of these guys. So I really was like, let me dive back into coaching. Shout out Coach Matos. But had a connection there and was the tight ends coach over at Wagner College. And that was a really cool time there. As you see, there's my brother, which I coached against him. And I got even leaner here. So once again, I practiced what I preached even today, right? And I was sleeping at the facility sometimes. Like, I was working, I was training at 5 a.m. Every morning I'd be training in this damn facility, like 5 a.m., go to meetings at 6:30, and I'd be at the facility probably till midnight. So I'd be sleeping. I remember in my journal, I mean, sleeping 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours, 6 days a week. Sundays I'd sleep in and repeat and repeat. And that was for a whole season. And throughout that time, I was like, man, I enjoy coaching. I love helping my tight ends. I mean, I really enjoyed it, but I yearned for freedom. I'm somebody who wanted freedom. So you know what I did next? We full sent it out to Oregon and lived the free life. Shout out my brother, Indiana Jones. Got some great people out here, Sam, Josh Hope, and really learned a lot out here. So I completely flipped the script, right? I went from athlete to doing boring ass corporate jobs where I just didn't feel fulfilled. Uh, was able to make good money, but just didn't feel fulfilled, right? And I'm just somebody who I have, like I said, I'm honest to a fault. I have to do what I believe in, right? Like I have to do something that I really want to do. I want to be enthusiastic about what I do. So you know what? I had a friend, Mike, who set me up at this company called Grayback. I was a wildland firefighter, and man, it was a hell of a time. It was awesome. Really learned how to push myself, learn how to connect with different people. I was on a team of 20 people. We call it crew, but it was really a team. It was really like a team environment, and it was a great time. I learned so much about leadership. I learned, throughout my time as a coach and then firefighting, I was taught to mature in different ways. It was different than just sport. It's just different experiences, different people, and it was something that I've definitely look back on and I'm thankful for. There was a lot of difficult times, right? Like physically challenging, had some foot injuries and stuff that were difficult to deal with, but man, great people, great time there. So learned a lot, right? And continue to stay in shape. But I now, if I work with first responders, I do feel like I kind of understand what they go through. We stayed out, camped out for 14 days at a time, and slept outside, no tent usually, and in the environment as you see in here. So that's what it looked like. Okay, it was a fantastic time, learned a lot. But then end of that in 2024, I had some health issues and was like, man, I need to figure the hell out and spent a few months back in Western New York, and then eventually helped out my buddy Dom here, and eventually was like, okay, I need to just go all in here. I had some money saved up, and you know what? I had to just do it, right? You had to, and I kind of had some practice. I kind of burned some. I had to just burn down my past life, right? Relationships, where I lived. I just not actually burn it down, but I had to just restart. So did that coaching, did that firefighting, and almost got me like practice into like just fully going it. And then I finally fully went in on what I knew I wanted to do since I was before I was even good at football. I wanted to do something fitness related, and I finally found like I had a niche. I was able to help my past self form a lineman. So I called my company Lineman to Lean Man. That's what I do today. And now it's kind of turned into weight loss and performance coaching. A lot of athletes and different individuals, but really the base of who I am, as you've seen throughout this PowerPoint, right? It feels like a school project, but throughout this PowerPoint, you've seen that genuinely, I was a lineman. I gained a bunch of weight. I lost it, and now I help guys like Dom lose it. Jimmy, who is my mentor, right, get lean. He's doing a fight soon. My buddy Dennis, who never really trained before, freaking transformed his life and got a new job and got a freaking haircut eventually. And he's just look at this man, freaking killing it. So it's really gratifying to be able to do something that I really enjoy doing every single day. Like this is what I would be doing no matter what. I'd be going to the gym. I'd be learning about nutrition. I'd be really figuring out different health issues and studying things, just nerding out. I always say to my clients, all right, you ask me a question, I'm gonna nerd out on this. But that's really that's the journey, man. So now I help people who want to do what I did. And that's like that's like the lineman dream, right? The lineman dream for at least all of us when I was playing was after football, we're gonna get freaking lean, we're gonna look good. If we're single, we're gonna pick up chicks. Like we're gonna feel good, feel confident, feel healthy, feel energetic, not feel all weighed down and feel just like, you're wearing triple XL shirts, you're wearing 40 waists. I didn't want to do that, I just didn't want to do that. I didn't feel like having all these stretch marks and just not being confident in myself and, constantly trying to fluff your shirt off of you. And, all those just self-confidence issues when you're 300 plus pounds, it doesn't feel the same. And I didn't realize all that until I'm now, hanging out 220 to 230 and you feel great. And it's like, man, it changes your life. It really does. And that's what I want to emphasize with the asymmetrical returns again, is like you make an investment into whether it's working with me or just losing weight yourself or working with somebody else, but you make an investment into yourself and change your life, change your health, change your habits. You can change your income, your wealth, you can change your attitude, you can change um, so many things. So I really, really encourage you to take that bet on yourself because it has those returns are just freaking parabolic, um, exponential returns. So definitely do that. I think there's one more slide. And then my why. Like, why do I do this, man? As I mentioned, this is who I used to be. As you see me down here with Jimmy, as you see, this is me and my dad after a Nebraska game. Like we played at 9/11 Nebraska. I was able to be a captain, and that was really a blessing. Now I get to watch my brothers. My brothers they played football. Will still plays, but I get to live life and feel healthy and feel energetic. And, I'm at Will's game running routes and stuff, and I feel healthier and more energetic than I really have before. And I'm extremely blessed for that. And I'm able to get lean. You know, I still have a little bit of stretch marks here, not perfect. Um, but man, I'm eating over 5,000 calories. I'm able to be in good shape. I'm able to live a life where I get to help other people. And you know, it all started with just taking a bet on myself, losing weight, and then realizing when I lost the weight, then I'm like, oh wait, I can do like it almost reminded me I can do hard things. So let me invest in myself. Let me take another shot, coach, firefight, and eventually open my own business. But really, that's what I encourage you to do is take a shot on yourself. It can really change your life when you lose weight. And that's my story. So I hope when you see something like this, right, you're like, oh, this motherfucker, he doesn't know what it's like to be 300 pounds. But I do. Look at me right here. Beat the fuck up. Beat up, barely practicing, and over 300 pounds. I mean, just force feeding food all the time. Like it was a different life. But when I talk to guys and when I work with people, 250, 300 pounds plus, or whoever it is, maybe it's just somebody looking to lose 10 pounds. I genuinely feel like I understand and I have empathy for, you know, if you're going through pain, if you have long-term health issues, mental health issues, whatever it is. Like I did counseling. I didn't even mention I studied, but I was a minor in counseling. I did community mental health. So did a lot of studies on, I was interested in, you know, different medicinal therapies for concussions, PTSD, depression, you know, mushroom therapy, ketamine therapy, interested in studying all that stuff. And then did a second major in communication, ended up doing graduate school in the geography department, international trade. Um, but really what I use now is a lot of what I did in undergrad and a lot of my connections that I learned through playing football, you know, helping out a lot of these young bulls here, helping out our brothers, getting lean, and now passing that on and not starving yourself, not suffering, but really having more energy. And hopefully you realize that like you can have more energy. You can improve your life by betting on yourself, by really committing to that. And if you need help doing that, obviously feel free to reach out, but you can do it yourself too. So, you know, I encourage you to take that bet. I hope this provides a little bit of context. Maybe if you came from my Instagram, you're like, who the heck is this Jack Clink lineman, a lean man guy? What is he talking about? Who is he really? Hopefully this answers some questions about who I am, what I'm about. And feel free to reach out. But either way, you know, best of luck for everybody watching. I appreciate you if you're watching till the end. I appreciate you listening to me ramble on. Um, so thank you very much and have a good night or good day.